Welcome, everybody, to the Board of Selectmen meeting and joint meeting with the DPW Building Committee Wednesday, May 8th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the meeting room at the Seekonk Town Hall, 100 Peck Street in Seekonk. Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Subsection 20F requires any person recording must notify chairman at the beginning of the meeting. Anyone? No? Okay. Okay, we call the regular meeting to order at 6 p.m. Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence.
Can you just let them know we're recording video and
Oh.
audio?
Just so everybody knows that the Board of Selectmen are recording this meeting. Audio and visual.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Board and committee openings, please.
Volunteers are needed on the following: Board of Registrars, 1 Board of Selectmen appointment; Capital Improvement Committee, 3 Board of Selectmen, 2 moderator; Commission on Disability, 5 of 13 Board of Selectmen; Cultural Council, 1 Board of Selectmen; Economic Development Committee, 5 Board of Selectmen; Energy Committee, 4 Board of Selectmen; Finance Committee, 1 moderator; Historical Commission, 2 Board of Selectmen; Recycling Committee, 1 Board of Selectmen; and Zoning Board of Appeals, 1 alternate.
Priority matters. Consider the conditional offer of employment for Theodore Santos for the position of police officer. See?
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Mr. Dean. On April 9th, interviews were held for the position of police officer. The applicants were all Massachusetts post-certified police officers and would be considered for lateral transfer. The interview panel consisted of myself, Deputy LaFleur, Captain Jardine, Detective Peterson, and Mr. Dean. At the conclusion of the interview process, the panel members all agreed that Theodore Santos of Fall River would be a good candidate to move forward in the hiring process. Mr. Santos is an 11-year veteran of the Bristol County Sheriff's Department. He started his career as a corrections officer. In 2021, he transferred to the Law Enforcement Division, where he assigned as a canine handler. Mr. Santos has received a host of trainings that I feel will greatly benefit this department. I'd like to request through Mr. Kadim that the board extend a conditional offer of employment to Theodore Santos for the position of police officer. And as you can see, Mr. Santos is in attendance. If the board has any questions.
Madam Chairwoman, my recommendation is that we offer a conditional offer of employment to Theodore Santos for the position of police officer.
Thank you. Can I get a motion?
I have 1 question now.
Questions first, motion later.
Whatever you want to do.
Go ahead. Question up.
So it says you're a canine handler currently.
Yes, sir.
Are you keeping the dog, or
Yeah.
does he have many years left in service?
The department actually made the determination that they wanted to retire.
Okay,
Honestly, part of the reason why I wanted it.
okay. I was just thinking maybe we could bring on board for us for a canine if possible, but
He's been cross-trained from, he used to be the COVID detection canine. He was
Okay.
cross-trained to be utilized for narcotics detection inside the jail.
oh, okay,
And it was, so we, with legality, we can't.
okay,
Couldn't do street law.
okay. Thank you.
Anyone else?
All right. Move that the Board of Selectmen appoint Theodore Santos to the position of full-time police officer for the police department, subject to and conditioned upon his successful passage as determined by the town administrator of the following: completion of a satisfactory background check, physical examination with drug screening, psychological screening, MPTC physical fitness test, obtain and maintain a Massachusetts license to carry, fulfillment of all statutory requirements set forth by the Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission to become a certified law enforcement officer, successful verification of the National Decertification Index, successful passage of a civil service physical ability test, completion and passage of the MBTC or approved ROC Police Academy. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any- Unanimous.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Community speaks. Do we have anybody from the community that's present here that would like to speak today? Your name for the record, please.
Chris Rizzo, 305 Pleasant Street, and I'm here to speak on the matter related to the current hearing for Loveless and Seekonk YMCA. I had the fortunate distinction of ending up next to them at the trunk or treat. First time going to trunk or treat, two young kids. One at the time was 18 months and the other one was 5. So we're all hopped up on candy and otherwise it's fun trying to decorate your treat. Of your trunk, and without any ask, they were more than happy to entertain our kids and help us set up. Because we got there a little late, as you do when you have young kids, and they were willing to help us. And it's good to see them in the community, and I have certainly no concerns with them actually doing this and being able to pull it off. You guys, I know, have a whole process that I think they're going to do right now, but provided they do all that, I think it would be a very good event. Speaking on their behalf to support.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you. Do we have anybody else from the community that'd like to speak on anything? Seeing nobody, let's move on. General business license hearing. Consider the request for a change of manager for Mormax Corporation doing business as BJ's Wholesale Club, 174 Highland Avenue, Seekonk, Mass. Karen Christensen to be manager. Do we have somebody here from BJ's or Mormax Corporation? Oh, hello, come on up. And your name for the record, please? Oh, okay. Okay. Does anybody on the board have a question? Any questions, Mr. Zurich? No? Mrs. Bossy? No? No? Mr. Healy, no?
Everything looks like, everything's in order, Madam Chair.
Okay. Okay. Are we gonna make a motion?
I make a motion to approve the change of manager for Womax Corporation doing business as BG's Wholesale Club, 174 Highland Avenue, Mass. Karen Christensen to be manager.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, unanimous. Congratulations. Thanks for coming. Good luck. Next, permit hearing. Consider the request for a one-day special event permit for Loveless and Seekonk to hold a family-friendly pride event with children's activities, food trucks, music, and entertainment at the Newman YMCA, 472 Taunton Avenue, Seekonk.
Hi. Hi.
Your name for the record, please.
Kristen Lyman, the president of Loveless.
And you?
Pam Buffalo, vice president.
Do you have any questions, Mr. Ritter? Yeah, right. Mr. Zora.
Well,
No questions for you.
I see on here, you guys looking for the one-day permit on the 6th date. Do you have a rain date, just in case it
We do
rains
not. All weather.
or weather?
We're just hoping for sun. July was nice enough to work around their summer camp schedule, so that really limits our ability to use the campground.
Okay, so you guys are gonna be in the way back, so,
The camp area, yes.
okay.
So we're outside, hopefully with sun or at least not rain. Hope we install a project vendors for us, put rosary beads out, whatever it takes for that.
I did receive an email from a couple people regarding this agenda item, and I guess I'll be pretty blunt and ask them. Is there gonna be, it's all gonna be age appropriate for kids?
Yeah, very much in consideration for why everything will be family friendly, age appropriate. There's going to be no alcohol beverages allowed, there's no smoking allowed, that's for wide regulations, but that was a decision that we weren't going to make regardless. It's geared towards families. I mean, we have Bill Harley signed on for entertainment to give you an idea of the type of event that we're looking to hold.
So as you can imagine, you've all on social media and the emails I received was, are they gonna be this there, this there? You know, stuff I don't know.
I can imagine, but that's entirely not our intent. Unless you have a problem with glitter tattoos or rainbow balloons, I promise.
No.
No, anything will be family friendly and, all the board members of Loveless and Seekonk, we are all parents here in the town of Seekonk. We all live here, we all either we've had kids in school or we currently have children in school or will soon. So, I mean, we're completely Seekonk focused. So we only want what's good for the town.
Mrs. Posey?
Yeah, you have here food trucks,
Yes.
so the food trucks, they have to come get permits, is that correct? If they're gonna be
So
there, that it?
that's correct. So I believe you're aware of the process. So if the food trucks already have a license, we just need to be notified so that the Board of Health can do an inspection when they go out there.
Okay,
Yes, we have spoken to food trucks there. There's unfortunately very few that are licensed here in Seekonk, but we do have, we have one that's available that day.
yeah, I know we've had food trucks come through here to get their permits to do different events like at the Speedway, whatnot, so. I saw that on there, I was gonna ask about if there was any food, and I saw the food truck there, so.
Yes, yes.
Make sure all the regulations are on for that.
But yes, we've been mindful of that.
Okay, the fire chief would like to say something, I can tell.
If they do have to identify the match from the law, will require the food trucks to come in the day of event permits, have them scheduled if they do have ventilation hoods, propane tanks, and extinguishers. So you would apply for a permit through the online department for prevention, and would do a day event inspection on those food trucks. That'd be the stipulation of my position.
Okay, so you know, chief, it's June 8th, scheduled for June 8th, just so you can
Correct. Yes.
have that in
Go
mind.
to the office and
So-
apply for the permit.
So folks that are already licensed, an additional day of, or
It's a day, it's called a day of event inspection. They have propane tanks to be inspected, ventilation hoods, fire extinguishers, and any carbon monoxide or smoke detection that they have there. They're going to be inspected. All right, thank you.
Thank you, chief. Mr. Gilly, do you have anything?
The only thing, I did receive, probably the same emails that Mr. Zorn did, and there were several concerns that people expressed. I did receive also a couple of phone calls in regards to this event. It does say children activities. Can you specifically tell me what type of activities you're gonna have?
we have, beanbag toss, we have,
Like agenda, they connect for, we have a bubble performer.
inflatable bowling.
Yeah,
We do not have a bounce house, our insurance company frowns upon that
Friday,
strongly, so,
so,
so we wanted a bounce house, but we're not having a bounce house. We have folks that are doing glitter tattoos, we're doing craft activities,
making rainbow flower crowns, coloring sheets. School of Rock, it has signed on to perform. We have the New England Witches Guild will be performing a dance that will involve, children and families participating in that, if they would like. And I think the biggest thing that we want to make clear is that this is a public event, but nobody is forcing anyone in the public to attend. It's set back on the campground. It's not anything that will be happening in view of the street. So if you do not want your family seeing rainbow balloons, you won't be seeing them.
And so besides the Witches Guild, the only other performer you have is Bill Holly?
Bill Harley, School of Rock, the New England Witches Guild, the East End Theater Acapella Choir, out in East Providence, and then Trishula Dance Company.
What is that?
They do, it's a big Bollywood style dance, which is like,
Where's that dance school out of? I've just never heard of it.
I'm gonna look back because the person who.
That's okay.
put the name back there.
maybe from.
Yeah, I think it's Providence area. Yeah, so we're fairly local,
I know the police chief has signed off on this because there's no issues with him. You know that if there's issues or if you think there may be, you could hire a detail for that day.
yes, you're required by the law, sorry.
Oh, well, okay.
Yes, and when I spoke to the chief the day I had to sign off, we did speak about that. We will have a detail officer in the back in the area as well as one in the parking area to ensure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we
Alright.
don't want problems, we don't anticipate problems. We know obviously not everyone's in favor of this, however,
That's what the off button's for, right?
Right.
yeah, and
Well,
they could just keep driving.
and in general, when you have a large crowd of people in an area, it is good to have a detail officer there just to ensure that everybody is on their best behavior.
Okay, so this is gonna be on a Wednesday. Oh, no, that's today. Hold on, calm down, calm down. It's only my second mistake of the night. Stand by. There'll be more. Sure, why not? June 8th. It's a Saturday from 2 PM to 6 PM.
Correct.
Okay, and I did, one of my questions that I always have is if the property owner gave you permission, and thank you very much for including this rental agreement.
yes.
that they have. Yes,
The why.
yes, you covered my question.
We have tried to anticipate all questions.
That's not possible. But you did good. You did good. Can I get a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the request for an entertainment license. Wait, I'm on the wrong one, sorry. I make a motion to approve the request for a one-day special event permit for Loveless and Seekonk to hold a family-friendly pride event with children's activities, food trucks, music, and entertainment at the Newman YMCA, 472 Taunton Ave. Seekonk.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
4 in favor, 1 opposed.
3 in
Three in
favor, 1
favor.
opposed.
Number 3, this thing, wasn't it? 3 in favor, 1 opposed. Congratulations. Have a good day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming by. License hearing, consider the request for an entertainment license from McCaw Country Club Incorporated, Murillo, Silver, to have entertainment with live and mechanic music outdoors at 354 River Avenue, Seekonk, Mass.
Murillo Silva Jr. I'm here on behalf of Murillo Silva Senior.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he isn't able to attend today. Yeah, would like to request the board to grant us an entertainment license for us to be able to hold live entertainment at the site. Currently, we're only seeking to do so on the outdoors area, weather permitting. And then as we renovate the building, we'll eventually reapply for the appropriate interior usage as well.
So how does this work now? Seeing he's representing his dad.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, it's just if somebody's here to
Yep.
represent, okay.
I'm also part of the board.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's good to know. Thank you. You noticed on the license application review sheet, the Board of Health is working with the applicant, you on pool food septic capacity review?
That is correct.
Okay. And then, the license would be granted with a successful completion of certificate of occupancy inspection.
That's correct.
So, but this, you're not going inside. This
No,
is just for outside.
This is exterior, and we are working with the building department as well as the fire department for the utilization of the locker room for the bathroom facilities.
Okay, and the police chief says that you will need a detail officer there.
Yes, and we'll work with the chief to adhere to however many detail officers are required for on a regular basis and whenever it's a specific event.
Okay, so this is only an application, okay, I got a question. What does ambiental, what is that? What is that word? Ambiental. Ambiental? It says entertainment with live and mechanic music outdoor, singers, bands, DJs, and ambiental?
To be honest, I didn't fill out the application myself, but I
Okay.
do believe that that's just, background music, not,
Did anybody look it up? Because obviously I did not.
Just-
I believe that's what it is, Madam Chair. I believe it's just music in the background playing. It's not a band playing, it's just soft music playing in a restaurant or an outdoor facility before possibly a DJ comes on or a band comes on, stuff like that. So,
The non people.
Elevator music.
yes, probably that's the best explanation, yes.
Like we're in music in a
Okay.
restaurant or.
Okay.
Or even in a bar that's.
So I saw that word and I didn't have a chance to look it up. Thank you very much. So this is for Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. In this, near the swimming pool area, which is right there.
Yes.
I would just point out that you need to be cognizant of your neighbors behind you. So if they come and start complaining, we will have an issue with the license, so, okay.
Yeah, absolutely, and we have been working with Four Echoes and the old
The Gristmill.
the Gristmill restaurant as well. So we have contacted them, we have met with them, and shared what it is of our vision for the usage of space. We're at least more or less on the same page there.
I'm thinking of the residents.
The residents as well. So we've actually had quite a few residents stop by on like the weekend walks and whatnot, and said hello, and they look forward to seeing the place being used and not abandoned as it was in its current state. And we are most definitely willing to comply with any kind of noise disturbance, as well as measuring if it gets to that point on the decibel readings and whatnot.
Okay,
But we don't plan on making
disturbing the neighborhood.
Right.
Mr. Healy?
The only thing in regards to that, Madam Chair, I would like to see if the board would entertain it, changing the days and hours of operation, if they would like to do Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Fridays and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., Sundays, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. I think 10 o'clock in the morning is a little too early on a Sunday for people to be listening to any type of music. Unless it's some of that ambient music they're gonna play in the background, but if they're gonna have a DJ there on a Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, that might be a little much for the neighbors to do. That's just my opinion.
Does anybody else have anything to say about what Mr. Healy just said?
I think it's a good suggestion.
So you're saying starting at noon?
Noon on Sunday.
Noon on Sunday.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable for us to modify our plans. I mean, I don't see a lot of traffic early morning Sunday, anyways.
Okay, and then, like I said, if we get complaints or something, we'll make sure you know. So would somebody,
I got a
oh,
question
you-
now. Chief, for the detail officer, you guys are still in talks about that, right? Can you come up here? For the detail officer, you guys are still in talks of that? I don't know. Are you requiring one
So,
doing all his hours of operation?
so when we first got the application, that's by Chief, myself, Bill, we all did a walk through the building, try to get a grasp of exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And it was somewhat, tough to get like a full scope of what kind of event. We did talk about like events on the weekends with DJs and bands and stuff like that. My concern was traffic, mostly because that piece of property, when they bought it, it no longer has that access road on the side, so everything is gonna come out on Fall River Ave on the curve. And I know from over the holiday season, when Gristmill and Fort and the other business had their tree lighting,
Right.
traffic was an issue. In fact, they
A lot of
hired a
it was-
detail officer.
Was there?
So until I get a better grasp of what this is gonna look like, going forward, at the very least, we're gonna have to have some kind of traffic element to it, especially for the larger events.
I mean, my only thing was, because I remember the Christmas thing, but I think his parking lot was closed down, which forced a lot of people, but I just didn't know, I just didn't see the
Yeah,
need
it's
for
not so
people.
much, it's not so much the parking.
Yeah.
It's gonna have lots of parking, it's vehicles turning in and out.
Okay. I just didn't know if you need one at 10 in the morning, if people are going into the pool club. I was thinking more crowd control, not traffic.
Yeah, like I said,
Yeah,
if it's a concert or event like that, then of course, crowd control some sort of detail officer for that, would definitely be wanted.
Yeah.
But my main focus is the traffic, you know. All that on that curve, it's bad enough as it is, that to add, you know, I think they were saying like you get a 500-person thing on like a weekend night.
Yeah,
That would definitely stress that out.
Yeah.
So we have to have some traffic, detail officers out there.
I was envisioning with the pool club, everything, just, you know, people by the pool families, and you had a DJ playing, you know, till the later hours of the night, then details would come in and get, you know.
Right, yeah,
That's
on
what I was
on the
thinking.
day-to-day operations, it's, for, at least crowd-wise, it's, I don't foresee seeing a volume of hundreds of folks on evenings and during the day, but when we're having set events, you know, and we're advertising as such,
Right,
it's gonna be a larger crowd, and, I think both traffic management and crowd control,
so
We'll
both,
definitely work with
Yeah.
the business.
We wanna make
sure.
okay, no, I'm good with that. Wish you guys good luck.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Somebody make a motion, please?
Make a motion to consider the entertainment license for Macau Country Club for Fridays, Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sundays from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimous. Good luck.
thank you very much.
Joint discussion with the DPW Building
Oh.
Committee.
Madam Chair, can I make a motion to put one out of order, item F, to get the animal control officer out of here?
Oh,
All right.
The board
Kevin,
agrees.
Kevin,
Hold on one second.
hold on a second. We're
We're gonna
gonna
take one out of order.
take
No.
one out of it.
If the board agrees.
Yeah, is everybody good? That's good. Okay, so we'll consider accepting the animal control officer warrant. Good evening. Thank you. Just your name for the record, please.
Andrea Russo, Animal Control Officer.
Thank you.
So return of the warrant. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 140, as amended and foregoing warrant, I, Andrea Russo, hereby make due return of my doings in compliance therewith as follows. Number of dogs for the period of April 1st, 2023 to March 31st, 2024. 65 caught, 64 confined, of which 5 adopted, 53 claimed, 1 DOA claimed, 1 euthanized, 1 in the shelter, and 5 transferred. Number of cats for the period of April 1st, 2023 to March 31st, 2024. 89 caught, 80 confined, 44 adopted, 4 died, 6 claimed, 9 DOA, 4 euthanized, 11 in the shelter, 2 transferred, and 9 released. To the best of my knowledge and belief, all unlicensed dogs in said town of Seekonk have been caught, confined, killed, or adopted, and complaints have been made against the following named persons under the provisions of MPL Chapter 140 as amended. Tickets written from April 1st, 2023 to March 31st, 2024 for non-criminal offenses. 11 failure to license for a total of $550. 5 dog at large first offense for $125. 11 dog at large second offense for $440. And 1 failure to vaccinate against rabies for $100. Total tickets were 43, in the amount of $1,215. Total number of dogs licensed from April 1st, 2023 to March 31st, 2024. Total licenses issued for 1,897. And so as far as I have knowledge, complaints have been entered against all persons who have failed to comply with said provisions. Dated 4/25/24.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for our animal control officer? Mr. Zara? I don't know. If I do. No questions?
No.
Mrs. Posey? No. Mr. Healy? And I don't have any questions this time either.
Very good.
I learned my lesson.
That's how we learn.
Yes, okay, can I get a motion to accept, please?
Make a motion to accept the animal control officer's warrant.
Second,
Second.
thank you, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
You too. Okay, now, we'll go to the joint discussion with the DPW Building Committee. Come on, Kevin. Okay, Kevin, we've already opened up our meeting for the selectmen. Would you like to call your DPW Building Committee meeting to order at 6:30?
Yes. 6:30, I'd like to call order to the Public Works Committee meeting with the Board of Selectmen.
Thank you.
And first on the agenda is Dan with CGA.
James Rogers, with CJ Project Management, we are the owners representing the concept of this project. We will also with your party.
Did I not, my item turned it on? Oh.
Again, good evening. We're just going to provide some updates since the last time that our group was here, before. So I'm going through this first slide, just giving you a general overview of the project itself. Just as a reminder, there was a feasibility study done in 2020. It was completed on February 1st, 2021. Town approval for pre-construction services occurred on June 7th. The building committee was formed in August 22. OPM was selected in December 22. The design was selected in March 23. The agent was prepared and brought on in January 24. To date, there's been 18 building committee meetings, and there's been over 20 building and site-related program meetings. Those like the design meetings that develop design.
Dan, can I just interrupt quickly? So Madam Chairwoman, just so folks at home, because we've got people that are live streaming, well, we're live streaming, they're watching our live stream. So the presentation can be found on the town's website under news and notice, because this isn't showing up in our live stream. So folks can either watch it live with us so that they can follow along and go back to it after the meeting as well. So it'll be up there.
Preliminary schedule. Let's do, all right, so May 2023, August 2023 was the initial phase of programming, site investigation, as well as some preliminary design going on. That took about 4 months, from September through December 23, the schematic design phase, also 4 months. January 2024 to April 2024, design development phase. And that's the phase that we are in the process of concluding this evening. And then looking down the road, once we receive authorization to proceed into the next phase, the team will be using the next 4 months to develop construction documents. We've also started the contract pre-qualification because this project is over $10 million per Mass General law. It requires pre-qualified general contractors as well as certain trade contractors. We had a pretty good turnout so far of the firms that have been interested, so they're receiving their information and we need to be pre-qualified them. And I also wanted to point out that there will be another round of process meeting being done in this phase as well. So this will be the third cost estimate that the team collectively had produced, which allows the team and the town really to be able to make informed decisions. We're anticipating 2 months. So we're anticipating 4 months to complete the construction documents, going out to bid for contractors in September and October of this year. Looking for the top meeting to take place on November 18th, that a ballot referendum vote will follow to with the hard numbers. So the idea behind this entire schedule was go out to bid, get the actual cost. We're just using estimates right now. That's going to be different than what the contractors are going to see. Once we receive the bids, we'll adjust, make any adjustments in the parking budget and have that ready for town meeting. And then once, and hopefully a successful approval by the town, we would then start the process of executing a contract with the general contractor in the town of Seekonk, and we would begin construction with the anticipation of occupying the new building in June of 2026.
So since the last time we were here, and now we've gone from the completion of schematic design phase through the end of design and development. At the end of SD, when we presented this to you last time, we understood the scheme. We had gone through various options of the building shape, form. The committee had selected their preferred options, and we knew where all the pieces and parts were going to go. Based on where we were the last time, we understood that there were cost savings that were required, and we took the design scheme and developed that with an eye towards reducing costs, making the building more efficient, simplifying the building as we move forward. So the building that you see up here has things in similar places to where they were last time, but it's a considerably different building. You'll notice that the different heights of different areas within the building are only as much as are required. So our maintenance bay and our wash bay in the back, where we've got a crane that needs to be over these vehicles and wash mechanisms that need to go over the vehicles, is higher to allow for that. Loading bay in the front was lower because the smaller vehicles in there that they load, and it's only as high as we need it. And then the garage was reduced to bring the height down in the back of the building, and then provide a single slope up going forward. Some of the glass has been reduced. Some of the canopies have been simplified. HVAC screen is no longer on the top of the building, all in the efforts to reduce costs and simplify the building. We've added in the back, there's a roof that shows some covered storage to give additional storage for the minimal amount of cost. And in general, the building has reached a much simpler form. So several of the spaces were reduced within the garage to reduce the size there. The mechanics bay and the loading bay were actually flipped so that the mechanics bay and the wash bay could be together to be at the same height. Loading bay in the front could be lower. The size of the administration area was reduced. At the entrance, at the conference room, at the employee entrance, at the locker rooms, we were able to find areas where we could take square footage out of that space, so that's been simplified as well. You notice the covered area in the back is also able to be used for storage. On the site, we have a fully developed site plan showing landscape screening towards the neighbors to the north, 50-foot buffers off the property line, some proposed plantings around the edge of the property, new location for the salt shed and fueling station, as well as the indications of where some of our drainage are. And then the purple dashed line that you see across the top indicates the separation between the landfill and then the wooded lot to the north. This is just a comparison so you can see the size of the building if we were to try to attempt to build it on the current site. It really does show you that the garage is really not that much bigger than the parking lot now. The parking lot now goes vertical up and down to the page. It's not directly under the garage lot, but it is a very similar size to the garage that we have. Maintenance loading bay, wash bay is bigger than what's there now because what's there now is undersized and there is no wash bay at all.
And then the admin area is slightly larger, we're going to have a training room, which doesn't exist, provide fully functioning locker spaces. But it is actually very similar size to what's there. It just would not fit on that site. So this is a site plan showing how the site is accessed from a single point. How we've tried to keep the vehicles to the front with the maintenance bay, loading bay, salt shed, and fueling station all to the south, away from our neighbors to the north. And the garage really acts as a buffer between kind of the working area on site where there's a lot of noise and neighbors to the north. We've put parking around the front to the north so that shouldn't be an active site during the day. That is where employees would arrive, enter through the employee entrance, pick up their vehicle in the garage, and then exit the site for the day. This slide shows you all the test pits and borings that we've done. So it's a significant amount of investigation on the site to try to find out what is below grade and try to understand what the impact of the costs are. The red is where we found trash. So the areas where we find trash need to be excavated and need to have that trash relocated somewhere else. In order to keep costs down, it's really important that we keep everything on site. As soon as we run out of room to move material on site and material needs to be taken off site, it's going to have an impact on cost. It's significantly expensive to take trash up and then move it to another landfill. A lot of charges to put that to another landfill. There is very limited room to relocate trash on site. If we dig under the administration area where there is currently trash, we have to move that to another area on site. We know that trash is about 15 to 16 feet deep. We need a 15 to 16 foot hole that's the same size on the site to move it and bury it there. So there are costs that are associated with that. We did present to the zoning board. We did get zoning board approval. The abutters were there, made their concerns clear. We understand clear that they have concerns about the operation of this facility very close to their homes. They asked us to try to increase that buffer zone away from their property line, and we've taken a look at that. And we'll get to that a little further down, so we can discuss the impact on the budget.
So as I mentioned, there's been cost estimates performed, and design, and now again, design development, obviously the documents are further developed, meaning that the estimators have a lot more to look at and have better information in terms of what the general scope is. So two fully independent, third-party professional cost estimators developed the estimates. Then what would happen, it took them 2 weeks to do that, and then we had a day-long reconciliation. So the information isn't shared with either of the estimators until we have them both in hand, and then we go through that. And we were pretty far away, pretty far apart initially, but once we reconciled the estimates, the estimators came within about $500,000 of each other, which is pretty phenomenal. I thought that was a really good reconciliation, good understanding of the scope. They were looking at the same information, and that makes a difference even when we go out to bid, because that's what we want to hear with the contractors at the end of the project. At that time, through design development, the estimated construction cost, the average between the two estimates. So if you look at that chart that's on the right, you can see the description. It picks up on every building element that would be required, from site improvement to concrete to masonry to steel, etc. And then in the green section, you'll see that these are the outbuildings related to the salt shed, the farm, and the outdoor covered storage. And then from that, we need to include some land price contingency as well as a law restoration. If we're not bidding now, we should be bidding in the future, and we need to make sure that we have enough coverage in that. And then below that would be all of the general contractor markups between general conditions, and general requirements, bonds, insurances, and of course overhead and profit. So we took the two numbers and we just averaged them out to be 34,750,000. We use that to actually develop the project budget. So with the project budget, it begins with the cost of the construction, right? $34,750,000. Then we roll in other costs of the budgets for the architect and engineering services, as well as for OPM services. There are other project costs, as well as police contingency, which is required on all projects, as well as including an allowance for furniture and fixtures and equipment and any kind of technology equipment. To add all that up, and we're at $39,490,986. Obviously, when this was presented to the building committee, it was a shock. We were surprised that we would be at $500,000. But we also can say that these are the real numbers. We can't pretend that they're not the real numbers. That's what this project, based on that current design, we're estimating the cost. Then I just wanted to point out that, so from that meeting, the last building committee meeting, there was a lot of work by the design team, by the building committee, DPW, and Sean and his folks to identify any ways that we can bring that cost down and share that.
So do you, so I know we've got the slides here. Do you want to go with the options first and then come back to this? Because it's got the garage versus the no garage. So if we talk about that, just to give everybody a perspective of what we're looking at.
Sure. Well, actually, so I know Mr. Thornton and their consultant, Fleming, and quite a few DPW facilities shared some information with the team, just in terms of what's going on currently in the industry with DPW facilities. And it's actually a good benchmark to let us know that we're not far off. We're not trying to match that. We're just, what we came up independently seems to be pretty much in line with what other communities have seen. Obviously, every town is different. Every DPW facility is slightly different. You don't know what they're dealing with. We also have a pretty extensive site remediation as part of this project. But it actually gave us a little bit of a better feeling that we're not off the chart here with the actual cost of construction.
And it should be noted as 2019 numbers are probably 25 to 30% low.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to escalate that out to today's dollars and escalate that out a little bit further. So we can get that. So as I mentioned, there was another round, couple weeks of doing value engineering, looking at cost reduction options. We also, at that first time we presented the $39 million number, there was discussion about what would the project look like from a cost standpoint if we don't build a garage, and what it would be to build a garage. And Sean will share the tax implication of one or the other. But in addition to that, we also identified the possibility of reducing the removal of covered storage, salt shed, fueling station, and reduced paving. That's with the idea that the current location of the fueling station and the salt shed and covered storage will remain at their current site on 44. So we would eliminate that from this project as a way to help bring the cost down. And as a result, it's also reducing paving in that area that is also loaded with trash below. So there's actually some total savings there. We having the operation split in that manner, it make a lot of sense as a potential savings of $3.5 million. Which was referred to earlier, there's some reductions in interior and exterior windows and glazing. Maybe possibly limiting the bond and maybe just using that as an alternate if we go to bid with that. Eliminating all skylights for $6,000 savings, elimination of the retaining wall, which is in the back and may not be needed. And then continue to look at the landscaping and only put landscaping where it's needed, especially along the property. So Sean,
That's fine. We can go back now that you gave some context behind the garage. Yep. So we had talked about what the tax implication would be. So we ran two different analysis, one with the garage, one without the garage. So before I actually speak to the numbers, I just want to point out that with any other numbers that we provide, it's all really kind of a living document, and it's subject to what we have with the information that we have now. So what do I mean by that? Right now, we're estimating the interest rate at 4%. So obviously, when we go out, it could be higher, it could be lower. The average single-family assessed value is current snapshot now. Obviously, we know with real estate, assessed values only increase with the real estate market. So that's where we're going with this. And then the other assumption, once we start talking about the actual columns that we have here explaining the tax implication, is that we're also assuming that what we're looking for is what the taxpayer is paying in FY25 and how does that compare years out. And we're also assuming that we're not adding any new projects to the debt exclusion. So if we do, that obviously is going to change the numbers. I just don't want anybody to say this and then come back 2 years from now saying that, Sean, you said X, Y, and Z. So it's clearly what we have with the information that we have here. So we know it's a 30-year bond, so we do simple level interest debt, principal and interest payments. So at $39,490,986 at a 4% interest rate, and with the average assessed value of $494,807, the average single family tax bill impact would be $267 per year for the entire 30 years. So what happens here, that's what you would get for 30 years, but we have debt exclusion, we have bond payments right now. So as the debt starts to retire, it's going to impact. So looking at FY25, we know taxpayers are paying X amount in their tax bill for debt exclusion. So for FY26, if we add this, call it $39.5 million, the increase for FY26 would actually be $222.66 as opposed to the $267 because we've got debt that is retiring in FY26. So each year going out, we have additional debt retiring. So you can see that FY27, so as opposed to paying an additional $222, you actually have a little bit of a savings on your tax bill. You're paying $217.71. So if you follow that logic all the way down, when we get to the 17th year, you're back to what you've been paying in fiscal year 2025. You actually, and I'm showing zeros here, but as the debt retires, there's actually negative numbers. So the tax bill actually goes down a little bit more. I just didn't want to confuse folks. So that's why I put the zeros there, because once the debt retires for any of the debt exclusion, obviously that falls off the tax bills. It's not something that's continual. So by 2043, assuming that there's no additional tax, we're back to the debt exclusion tax payment that we are paying for FY25. So you can see that. If you want to go to the next slide without the garage. So if we eliminate the garage, that would bring the borrowed amount to 31 million. Is that the same number? Was that? I'm sorry. 490. Okay, it was.
It's about 8 million less.
Oh, is that right? Is that the? Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're right. So I apologize. Yep. So $31,490,986. You can see here that the debt principal and interest payment would be $1,821,127 over the 30 years. That would be an average impact of $213 per household for an average value of just under $495,000. So this is a $9.7 million savings in 2024 dollars. And then you can see, because of the retiring debt, that the actual impact would only be $168.23 without the garage. So it's roughly about a $50 difference between having a garage and not having a garage. Still, you essentially a break-even point, if you will, getting back to the FY25 tax bill would still be 17 years. And I say that, but we still have a 30-year payment, just to be clear.
You want to touch on the new equipment savings? I know it affects both sides, but in terms of we have a replacement. We did an analysis over the projected life of the building, 50-year life, the building probably lasts longer than that, but we projected it over 50 years. With the current replacement costs, the current projected replacement schedule, how long that could be extended based on parking a vehicle indoors versus what they do now, parking it outdoors. We found that to be a $9.7 million savings to the town in vehicle replacement costs, where you would begin to be able to get another year or 2 or 3 out of each of those vehicles. And it adds up over time as they regularly replace vehicles. Garage basically pays for itself.
So those numbers we just saw don't include the.
Yeah, just to be clear, the difference in the borrowed amount, 39,490,000 versus the 31,490 shows an $8 million savings if we do not build the garage, and at the new site, they park vehicles outside.
Right, but those numbers don't include the potential value
No.
engineering cost reduction.
Okay.
So that's before that.
Yeah, yeah, we wanted to make sure that we were using the numbers based on the cost estimates.
Okay.
And then once we receive those cost estimates, we go back to the estimators to ask them what would the savings be if we eliminated the garage, and they provided that information. So that's why this analysis was done, to give you an example here, garage or no garage. And then, so, from that, then we started going more into the potential BE savings. So with these items that you see on this page, with the, which I kind of explained a little bit earlier, the additional cost savings for, the reductions and that Nate was referring to, as well as approximately $3.5 million related to the reuse of the existing facilities. And we then plug that into that same spreadsheet with the new number. So starting with the 34,750,000, we started off at the very beginning, taking out $4,788,000 of value engineering, keeping all those other costs the same, the architect services, OPM, other project costs, all of that stays the same. We're now down to $34,702,986 total project budget. I realize that as someone was showing and mentioned, this is a live document, and we're going to get another round of cost estimates, and the team is going to continue to look for ways to save as we continue on with this.
Yeah, can you just go to the tax implication? Selectman Posey brings up a good point in terms of the savings. I think it's also important to note that, this is just capturing, assuming that we do 100% of the debt exclusion. Internally with the building committee, we've been talking about recognizing that the costs are significant, just different funding options. So we could potentially have a conversation about whether or not we want to commit some free cash year over year to lower the impacts to the taxpayer, whether it's $250,000 a year, $500,000 a year. We could run an analysis which would actually lower these tax implications to the residents as well. We just need to kind of figure out what that dollar amount is, and we can actually present that back to the board at some point. It's an easy analysis to run, but for today's purpose, we want just to really show you what the true implication would be at 100%.
So to be clear, there's really 3 options that we're presenting right here. So the full as designed DPW is the 39 million. Without the garage is really the most extreme cut we can get, which gets us to the 31. And then there's a proposed kind of middle one where we're more at the 34, 35 million.
So that $34 million include any part of the garage?
It includes the whole garage. So what we've done is we've taken the salt shed, fueling station, covered storage, and the barn out. We've left the garage.
So essentially, we still have to fuel up on Taunton Ave.
I would be more supportive if we reduce the garage area for vehicles that we could probably compromise on, that don't have to be stored inside. You know, the town spent a lot of money on equipment that is sitting outside, that years of service have fallen off because it sits outside. The dump trucks, the sands, the salt, all the stuff that we spent a lot of money on, backhoes, everything, those should be inside. A pickup truck, in my opinion, can probably sit outside. Right? If we could look at reducing the size of the garage and continue to keep a salt shed at the new facility, the fueling station, and get it off of Taunton Avenue, so eventually we could take that piece of property on Taunton Avenue and town it south. And get, to have this project split into two, like that, and still keep that site as a fueling station and something with a salt shed, to me, doesn't make any sense. That's just my opinion. I think it should all be all-inclusive on that site. We bought the piece of property for a reason. To relocate the entire DPW facility there. Yes, the cost is a lot more than I think everybody thought it was gonna be, but I do think there could be some compromise on the garage area, keeping the main structure of that garage to remain and protect the important equipment that we've spent a fortune on. I would hate to see the mechanics bay get cut. I would hate to see the wash bay get cut, because right now they wash vehicles outside. That's only gonna get a problem future in life for us going down that road. That site's been overused, we should have been out of it probably 10 years ago. Unfortunately, it is what it is. But to have it broken apart and keep part of it there and this and that, when we purposely bought that piece of land there, and make it one whole facility, I think that's what I would fully support focusing on that. And then we just have to figure out a way to convince the voters to go on both. But I do think if we start to break it apart, it has completely lost the purpose of what this project was originally supposed to be.
So you and I haven't spoken about this, but that's what I shared with the building committee. But the building committee was just, the reason they put this proposal forward is that recognizing that they're trying to move the project along, that, you know, obviously the price tag is going to be a sticker shock. So, you know, the committee itself, along with the OPM and the architects, have done an amazing job of really trying to get these numbers as low as possible. And that was really a last minute conversation. I mean, this just happened last week. As part of what can we do. And so that was some of the recommendations. I think we all agree that it's not a perfect world, right? Because we have all our equipment, or would have all our equipment down at Fall River Ave, and then to have them go gas up, go get the salt. But those were one of the options that we wanted to put out there. And I think that's part of the conversation for today, is what direction does the board want the committee to proceed in? So we just want to be able to give those options, recognizing that obviously, you know, $34 million, $35 million, $39 million is a lot of money. But if we're talking about a building facility, and I've internally said, you know, without the garage, I feel like we're not really getting the project that we had talked about. It's really, because it's still a significant dollar amount. And it's like, okay, we're going to town meeting and we're not, to me, it's a waste of money at that point, right? Because we're not getting what we really need for tax, and utilizing the taxpayers' money appropriately in my mind.
I mean, they presented $9 million savings by putting the equipment in the garage.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And at that point, the garage is really a wash.
Yeah.
So it seems like you want the garage.
Yeah, and what all I was saying is if we reduce it, so some of the vehicles, I don't think every single vehicle could be inside. So if they reduce the size of the garage, we could probably move the office area out of an area where we have to do borings and trash removal, to an area that we don't have to do that in, according to that site picture.
Just not so currently there are 34 spots in the garage, which is a reduction of 6 since the last time we were here. So there was some reduction, but something.
Was a setback initially 25 feet, you guys moved 50?
It's really always been 50. There was a little bit of a discussion about whether 25 was the minimum or 50 was the minimum, but we've always said, let's try to keep it as far back as possible.
What is the minimum?
50 according to zone.
I was thinking if you brought back the initial 25, thinking that then obviously it would save out of the removal of some of the landfill under the structure, because you push it back 25 feet. So it would help out a lot where the building part was, and just fall with basically some of your parking lot and,
So
social
they
structure.
approved it as is, but they wanted them to look at the implications of pulling in further away from the property line, which I have a couple slides that we can look at the end here. I'll show you where we got to there.
And as far as that covered storage, what's that? Are we talking covered storage for vehicles? When you're pulling down the parking lot on the left side? That's all that was?
Spreaders, mowers.
Yeah, like some of the J hooks that we're taking the overhead storage out, we like, so in the corner of the building, we put some like the attachments for the brush hogs, like for the ASBs, some of the snow removal equipment. We can kind of put in that corner where it's out of, not.
No, I'm talking about I know the corner by the wash day, I'm talking about across the parking lot. That kind of
was gonna
storage,
be
that's
for
true.
the, like the Jacob bodies, the salters in the summertime, to keep them up, like, doesn't have to be inside, but at least being covered, not get the hydraulic hoses, sun.
Is it just a roof or is it
Yeah,
a
just-
wall system?
Just, it was what, a roof and a back wall and 3 walls, yeah. Not just all that part. Not a door, it's open. but- It shall be.
I guess my question is gonna be, what, all these numbers up here, these include the trash removal and what it will cost to remove the trash? That is in there, okay.
Yeah, somewhere between $7 to $8 million, I saw, for site improvements.
That was the number, at the end of schematic design, we've been able to reduce that, by a couple $1 million, so we're closer to 6.
6 million for the trash removal?
Well,
Like
It's a combination, yeah.
Yeah, combinations, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's unsuitable soil not for building, it's not suitable for building, so we've got to bring in new soil.
Around about 15 feet of unsuitable soil that needs to be removed. We are planning to keep it on site, spread it over the site, but it does mean a significant amount of material brought in and compacted in those.
We're still exploring the possibility of doing something else as opposed to removing the soil, like what they call rain aggregate here. You're basically remediating the site and leaving it all in place, and you're strengthening the soil itself to be able to support them. We've done one of those in cotton, which worked out very well and saved money, but it saved on the cost of the wool. But that's something that's still being explored right now, because it may not be as but something still. Like I said, the team to work very hard with the building committee and others to identify anything and everything that could be reasonable to consider for bringing this cost down.
Well, if we're gonna build a building, Madam Chair, I hope it's on solid ground.
Yeah.
We have one building in this town that is built
We don't wanna go through that.
near an old landfill. I really would not entertain going down that route. So, I'm fully supportive of removing what needs to be removed, getting a proper fill in there, and we're gonna build a building. So removing it anywhere that is underground trash.
This diagram was just to show the kind of reduced, to get to the 34 million, shows eliminating the covered storage, the salt shed and the fueling station, and then eliminating the asphalt associated with those items. All of those was proposed to be back at the Fall River Ave site, we're using the current facilities. We took a look at rotated building, which pulls the building further away from the neighbors. We feel that this will give visually a much different look. Instead of having kind of a solid wall that is parallel with the property line, there'll be a little bit of a disappearing edge there. It squares it up a little bit more with the landfill area. What it does goes from about 2,500 square feet of landfill removal to about 8,000 square feet. So it is a significant jump. We found this would probably add about $500,000 in cost for removal of that material. And then we also took a look at just pushing the whole building further away to go 100 feet instead of 50 feet, which would be about 19,000 square feet of material that would need to be removed and add $1.1 million to the cost of the project.
I think that's your last slide. I just want to clarify something. I was not proposing, but that was proposed to build over trash. That was, so in the area that's wooded, that's also unsuitable for construction. That's the problem. Like wherever the trash is going, wherever there's trash right now, if we were building on that, that would be completely dug out and replaced with suitable fill. So I don't know if that was clear, as
Yeah, just so the board member will know that members of this committee, there is one that's been around for a long time. And one of the first things we discussed with all of our professionals over here is that we will not put anything on top of trash. Because that member is quite aware of the situation and that will not happen again. And I'm glad they showed this. We had other things that we discussed too. And one of the board members said something about removing the salt shed and the fueling station and leaving it the way it is, and that was just a suggestion by one of the members so that we could save money on the building where it is and utilize that building and utilize those grounds. And then utilizing that building, the existing building, as storage only. Just so everybody knows. Okay, does
Utilize
anybody?
the old building you're talking about, right?
Yes,
So,
for
I mean,
storage only.
I understand, Mr. Healy's thing. I was also thinking in my head, County Street's gonna be gone someday, so they're gonna need a place for dry storage for.
We're gonna
other
eliminate
trucks.
County Street, oh, the building.
The building, the old fire station, so they have,
Okay.
right now, they're using that for vehicles and stuff. So I was thinking, I get the, point with the garage, make it small, but I'm assuming at some point, they're gonna use that for the reserve ambulance and stuff like that, or I would assume with the only extra garage spaces,
I'm not sure that there's anything stored in that building.
the County Street.
I don't believe so, I don't know, for sure, but I don't think there's anything stored.
Okay. Maybe it's everything else.
Do you guys know?
Rescue three's in there, the hazmat trailer was in there last time I was in there. I know we usually have some of our stuff in there right now.
But then also, I understand the Dairy Farm, so there's a big barn there for probably some of your off-season construction stuff.
Yes,
Next
some of
week.
the doors are kind of a little difficult getting into some of the buildings over there. So like the building, like where our admin office is now, how it's kind of V-shaped, we always kind of figured that was eventually gonna get knocked down. That building is gonna stay much longer. We were talking about mainly utilizing the top area where we have that newer metal building to already established, the salt shed there and the fuel station. Eventually, we'll have to get replaced. But we were thinking overall cost and keeping a lot of the complaints we got from residents was the 24-hour operations at the new site we're going to. So we figured if we mitigate that, the 24-hour operations, it kept them on 44 where they've already been. There's not a lot of people coming in and out at their hours. And then, try to make everyone happy, cut the price down. And then we're always gonna end up using, I can't really see the town getting rid of that site wrong, maybe. Like, I figure if we knock it down, keep the fuel station there and the salt shed there, we can use the 3-bay we have up there for storage. We can keep one loaders there in the winter time. We're gonna put probably lawnmowers and everything in there to keep the garage we have, the new garage, hopefully, utilized for mainly salting events, everything else. Kind of use it for a storage yard, or if like anyone else needs it, because eventually County Street will be gone, and we'll have the probably other police farmer or whoever can use that kind of like a storage unit.
Please don't take any of my comments about anything the wrong way. You guys have done a phenomenal job trying to come up with different avenues for us to look at and discuss and reduce costs there. And my stance will be, we move forward with the DPW project, we should take everything and put it in one location. The days of DPW being spread in 15 different places, to me, is archaic. We built a public safety complex. We don't have cruisers sitting up at the old police station on 44. We don't have fire trucks sitting at old stations that used to be there. I understand the cost is the cost, but to go forward with a project and still have it fragmented all over the place, to me, does not make any sense at all. That's all I'm gonna say.
As far as the noise though, it's really only on winter operations and your machines are at the full salt shed away from the neighbors, so it's not like truly a 24-hour operation where
Yeah,
24 hours during certain times of the year, it's not like they're gonna get backup alarms.
Yeah, it was something that was brought up to the committee, we kind of discussed it, we're like, well, if we're trying to cut costs, maybe this is an option to go with. We're trying to give as many options as we could.
Right, just a little noisier than the post cemetery, but it's all relevant a couple times a year,
Yeah.
So it's not a whole deal of,
But it is 24/7, right, with police cars going in there to fuel up.
Oh.
The fire vehicles, fuel up in there as well, right?
yeah, but you're not making much noise when cruisers pull into the gas station.
And that's
stuff.
furthest away from the residents too,
Yeah.
which at one point it was behind the buildings and then we put it over here so in front, so it would pull it away from the neighbors.
That's the fueling station next to the salt shed.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's as far away as you can really get. And with shifting the building like we tried to, which they looked at, then it costs money because now you're back on top of where it needs, all that trash will need to be taken out. So. Because there was a suggestion to pull it away from the neighbors, but then it's gonna hike up the cost because we need the trash removed. And as far as the point with getting a smaller garage, we did look into that, and you're measuring the cost of the garage, which isn't a walled building, it's an open building with saving the money, having the equipment inside, it kind of, to me, it kind of evens out as far as the money goes, because you save the money with the life of the equipment and you spend it on the garage. And there's no sense, it's kind of silly to build a DPW facility without a garage. That just doesn't make sense.
And I think saving money on the aesthetics too, on the outside of the building or overall with the building, it's not really visible from the street, right? So
Right.
it's not intended to be a showpiece. So anything that can be done to reduce costs there, I think is definitely going.
Yeah, but we did have a lot of not a lot, but we need to have that buffer between the neighbors in
Oh,
the
yeah,
back and the
that
building.
makes
Yeah.
sense. So I do have a question, the driveway, where exactly is that in relation to the American Legion? So you're coming
To the
out,
right of it.
if you come out in a different spot, right? So
Yeah.
if you're looking at the Legion, it's to the left.
To the right of it, to the right
Oh,
of
so
it,
right of it.
to the right of it, where it's,
Next to the
So
Legion
Legion's
is a
down
Down
house.
below, yeah, so it's right probably where the logo is, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you know Cotton's Way, it's
Yeah, okay, yeah.
2 houses down.
Okay.
There's a dirt road in there. Which would be-
Yeah, and that property's owned. That would be all cleaned out.
which will save money from paying up.
Yeah.
The Legion yearly expense.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we weren't still using that driveway.
No.
Yeah.
We're using town land, which should have been done years ago, in my opinion.
I have one more question. Can we go back to, I think it was like the third page, maybe, fourth page?
What do you
I
want to
just
look at?
don't know what that, is it round, are we in a circle down here? Yeah, that one. What is that in the far bottom right corner? Big square, a rectangle.
What is it?
Oh,
Bottom
that's a
right corner.
conference room, I think.
No, down,
Down.
right there. What is that? It's not labeled. Oh, it's not labeled. I didn't,
Yeah, it's not.
okay, I just thought it was empty space or something else. Didn't know what it was for.
Is that done?
Meeting's over.
Time for me to go under the table. Bye. Okay, any other questions? Everybody good? Everybody good here? You,
The building committee, I guess, would need direction, consensus from the board, and then I would just recommend they need to vote, so you folks can start moving on to construction documents, right? So we're about 2 weeks behind schedule.
okay, so can I assume that the board members here basically would like this building committee and the people we have here to continue with onto construction documents? I don't need a vote for that, right? It's just
So what are you
Regular.
looking for in terms of garage, or just to proceed with
So,
constructive
yeah,
documents?
I think a decision on, not the option of no garage, but keeping the garage in play in the original design. I don't know if you want us to continue to look at ways to make that a little smaller. I don't think that's a big lift. We can take a look at that without sacrificing anything. And then it sounds like you want to leave all the operations on that. So that's the kind
if is anybody opposed to that? No?
What is the,
Mr. Zora? Okay.
I was gonna say, what does the
Makes sense.
DPW building committee recommend? I mean, you guys
So-
met, do you have a recommendation?
Yeah, I think, I'll speak on behalf, I think we would love to keep everything on the site and as is. The biggest thing we were worried about was the cost.
Yep.
We didn't want to go bring up like, hey, almost $40 million building and it just get shot down at vote. We wanted to kind of bring it up to you guys, get some public opinion on it, be like, look, before we try to bring that stuff to bid and get, you don't know how many shots you're gonna get. Try to make it count.
And Kevin, I fully agree with you, because if you look at recent history, the town's voted down the library a couple of times, and the town also voted down the Tri-County. So the appetite for a big ticket item, out there for the taxpayer right now is not that great. This situation, this building, I think, might have more support locally than other projects. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know that for sure. There's no guarantee of anything in this world.
No.
Other than death and taxes. So I know, and it's the truth. It's just the appetite out there right now. If you really look at the recent votes that are going on in the town, they really haven't gone in favor of big ticket projects. But this has been an ongoing discussion for some years now. And I think everybody understands that the town has to do something to replace these DPW.
That's why we wanted to bring it up to the board and show you the different options that the team just came up with and get you guys' opinion on it.
Okay, so I'm gonna say that it's the opinion of the board that you go forward with construction documents, including the garage, including everything on site.
Could just say based on the design development.
Based on the design development package that was presented.
So moved.
I didn't make a motion. Are you gonna make a motion? A motion. I made the motion, you moved it. Okay, go. Who's gonna second it? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous.
Do you, just as the building committee, you want to vote so that they can start?
Call in order for a vote from the building committee to move forward with construction documents. Favor?
Right. Mhm.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn building committee meeting and going with board of selectmen.
At 7:22 PM. All in favor?
All in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's vote to award, sign the bond anticipation note of $1,925,000, which includes DPW and the South End Fire Station.
Madam Chairwoman, so we received 3 bids on the ban, which is a bond anticipation note, so that's a short-term borrowing. The winning bidder was Fidelity Capital Markets. So they came in with a coupon of 4.75%, but we're also receiving a premium of $15,534.75. So that actually lowers our coupon rate from 4.75 to 3.94%. And this is just to cover the renewal of the $425,000 for architectural services and design for the South End Fire Station. And then we also went out earlier for the DPW building project, but we did half of the 1.5 million. So we did the 750,000. So we'll renew that and then borrow the additional 750,000. So the total amount would be 1,925,000.
Now I'm going to read this.
Yes.
I, the chair of the Board of Selectmen of the town of Seekonk, Massachusetts, certify that at a meeting of the board held May 8, 2024, of which meeting all members of the board were duly notified and at which a quorum was present. The following votes were unanimously passed, all of which appear upon the official record of the board in my custody. Should we take the vote?
No, you need to read this because this is your motion.
All right, vote to approve the sale of a $1,925,000 4.75% general obligation bond anticipation notes, the notes of the town dated May 23rd, 2024, and payable May 23rd, 2025, to Fidelity Capital Markets, a division of National Financial Services LLC, at par and accrued interest plus a premium of $15,535.75. Further voted that in connection with the marketing and the sale of the notes, the preparation and distribution of the notice of sale and preliminary official statement dated April 24th, 2024, and the final official statement dated May 1st, 2024, each in such form as may be approved by the town treasurer, being hereby are ratified, confirmed, approved, and adopted. Further voted that the town treasurer and the board of selectmen be and hereby are authorized to execute and deliver as significant events disclosure undertakings in compliance with SEC Rule 15C2-12 in such form as may be approved by bond counsel to the town, which undertaking shall be incorporated by reference in the notes for the benefit of the holders of the notes from time to time. Further voted that we authorize and direct the town treasurer to establish post-issuance federal tax compliance procedures and continuing disclosure procedures in such forms as the town treasurer and bond counsel deem sufficient, or if such procedures are currently in place, to review and update said procedures in order to monitor and maintain the tax exempt status of the notes and to comply with the relevant securities laws. Further voted that any certificates or documents relating to the notes, collectively the documents, may be executed in several counterparts, each of which shall be regarded as an original and all of which shall constitute one and the same document. Delivery of an executed counterpart of a signature page to a document by electronic mail in a PDF file or by other electronic transmission shall be as effective as delivery of a manually executed counterpart signature page to such document. And electronic signatures on any of the documents shall be deemed original signatures for the purposes of the documents and all matters relating thereto having the same legal effect as original signatures. Further noted that each member of the Board of Selectmen, the town clerk, and the town treasurer be and hereby are authorized to take any and all such actions and execute and deliver such as certificates, receipts, or other documents as may be determined by them or any of them to be necessary or convenient to carry into effect the provisions of the foregoing votes. I further certify that the votes were taken at a meeting open to the public, that no vote was taken by secret ballot, that a notice stating the place, date, time, and agenda for the meeting, which agenda included the adoption of the above votes, was filed with the town clerk and a copy thereof posted in a manner conspicuously visible to the public at all hours in or on the municipal building that the office of the town clerk is located, or, if applicable, in accordance with an alternative method of notice prescribed by or approved by the Attorney General as set forth in 940 CMR 29.32B, at least 48 hours, not including Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays, prior to the time of the meeting and remain so posted at the time of the meeting, and no deliberations or discussions in connection with the sale of the notes were taken in executive session, all in accordance with General Law, Chapter 30A, subsection 18-25, as amended.
Second.
Is that the motion? That's the motion?
That was the motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay.
All that.
Oh, all in favor? Sorry.
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? No. Passes unanimously.
I asked a question about that. Is that dollar amount the total that has been approved at town meeting? Or is there still more that has been
No,
approved
that-
that we just haven't gone,
No, that's all of it. So
that will wrap it up?
425,000, that's the entire amount for the South End Fire Station. And then we had 1.5 million for the DPW.
Thank you.
Good. Okay. Discussion of a Seekonk art contest.
All right, Madam Chair, this was actually my idea. Do you want me to present it?
Please.
All right, so driving around to various towns in neighboring states and even states further away, and saw some down in Florida. I happened to notice, the traffic control boxes aren't just a plain color black or green, they actually have artistic designs on them. And driving by the Seekonk High School every day at the arcade, at the new light intersection there, arcade and ledge, I look at that black box every day, driving by there going, wouldn't it be nice if we had an art contest, and had somebody, get everybody who wants to be in on it, 18 and over, there'd be some restrictions there, but present their design, and the winner would paint their design on that box. So I presented here, you guys have some printouts from various towns and cities in Massachusetts that are already doing this. City of Boston does it, Wellesley, Canton, Brookline, and the list goes on and on. I only just gave you a few samples. They all have different, regulations and rules and stuff, but they're all, for the most part, kind of similar. You spread it out there, you give the guidelines as to what you want. You know, I think Boston calls it call for artists. You know, usually there's a stipend involved that would cover the cost of the materials for doing the painting, plus the time that the person's gonna take to paint it. So whoever the winning artist is would be the one who actually goes out and paints it. So I kind of summarized in an email just some of the things that I pulled out of the various things that I found online. One of them that the artist must be 18 years of age or older, because they're gonna be out there painting on their own. They have to be a Seekonk resident. Figure we have a lot of artistic people in Seekonk, so it'd be nice to keep it to the Seekonk residents. So they would be responsible for doing their own painting. We'd have to give them a time frame as to when they could do it, a time frame as to when the contest is open for submissions. Like I said, different stipends are offered from the various cities and towns. Let's see. They would use the stipend to buy the materials. Some of the materials that I had listed here were just from Wellesley. The Wellesley, it's called the PAC. I think it stands for Professional Artists Committee. They've been doing this now for I think 3 or 4 years. And they've come up with this list based on their experience as to what holds up the best. They suggest, most of these cities and towns suggest that the box that you want painted be primed and masked ahead of time. So BPW would go out there and just prime it, have the box ready so that the artist would just come and do the painting. You'd have to, maybe keep the concrete base clean for your paint. We make sure that there's certain sections of the box, if you don't want painted, we have to call that out and make sure it's masked. I know these boxes have like a meter on the side. So, maybe some will paint the meter, some of them don't. So we'd have to make that decision. It would have to be all paint. We wouldn't want them pasting or gluing or anything like that. It has to be creative, original. They can't be using any type of copyrighted art or art performance to other artists. It would be their design, so we'd want them to sign it. Their design hopefully would last a minimum of 2 years, but knowing that we may have to paint it, move it, upgrade it, or anything, so we can't guarantee how long it will last. The owner would be the copyright artist, but then we would have permission to use it for any type of non-commercial publicity, like for the town, on the town's website, stuff like that. So those are the major things that I pulled out of looking up how the other towns are doing it. I think it would be, worth a shot to give, to put it out there and see what we can come up with. I'd be willing to put a flyer together with all these rules and, a time frame, and maybe we could, if you guys want to go forward with this, I can present a flyer at the next meeting with all the, what it would look like, what we would post, and, what we'd have to come up with a time frame. I think Wellesley does it, they give the artist July, August. I think it's July, August to paint. Boston does July and August, or August and September. So we would have to maybe give them a month to get their submissions in. Then we would vote on the one that would be the winner, and then we would give them a couple months to paint it.
Okay, what is your idea of who's gonna choose?
I would think that we would choose.
Okay.
I like it to be from this committee as being the ones who are presenting this contest. So I would say we could unless we got a lot of, we could maybe narrow it down and maybe let the residents vote. We put them online and let people go in and vote for their favorite. It's another option.
What's that Survey Monkey thing? Doesn't that do that? Well, first of all, I would say anybody on the board that was gonna submit a design
Wouldn't be able to vote.
would not be able to be on it.
Does that have to go to us because it's town-owned property?
Oh, no,
Yeah, we did
it's
check
okay.
on that. We did.
Yeah, I talked to Mr. Cabral. It's our box. We can do it.
Yeah.
I did ask him when we discussed it.
Yeah.
So I'm in favor of this 100%. I think it's great. So I've seen so many of them now that this has been brought up. I see them everywhere. So I have absolutely nothing against this at all.
So my question is, being next to the high school, I know you said 18 older. Is there a reason for that? Instead of
I think a lot of it had to do, from what I'm reading, is you want an adult, you want it to be, they're going out there, they're doing the painting.
Yeah.
You want somebody who's, responsible, like somebody who could, maybe we would have to draw up a contract to say, this is what these are the rules that you're gonna have to follow while you're doing it or something.
So I was thinking maybe with
So-
a high school student with parents' permission, if their design was to win, 17, 16-year-old, because I have some pretty artistic
Yeah.
people in the school that.
Yeah, they're
you
out,
know,
but you don't want a 16-year-old on the side of the road painting it either. So I think that's
Oh,
why
no.
the
Yeah, I think
18 is.
that
Off the
was,
side of the road, but
well, it is off the side of the road. but
I'm just thinking,
still,
they do
I think-
yearbook covers,
yeah.
and some of them are pretty damn good.
Oh, yeah, that's, Seekonk has a lot of artists. I mean, it's the life, there's that artist group that does a presentation every year.
Um, I mean, I'd be okay to open it up to high school students to submit, and if they are chosen to win, then
You're
parent
gonna-
permission and stuff.
I think you need to have an age.
Yeah.
You can't just say high school
Yeah, I
students.
think
it
it'd have
needs
to be
an
like
age.
16 and over.
And the thing is,
because
if
they're
they're-
out there painting by themselves too, so.
And if they're not
You know-
considered adults, then they need their parents' permission, and the parents have to be with them while they're out there painting. If you're gonna lower the age below 18.
Yeah, I just in case a senior had a good idea of painting, I don't know any person, I'm just saying, maybe.
Oh, we
If
could-
you were to do an age, I guess, then most of the seniors are what, 17?
17 or almost 18 by the time they graduate. Seniors now, 18.
I mean, that's just my thing, I don't wanna, just because it's next to the high school, and maybe they do have really good things that they can throw on it,
Yeah.
I don't wanna, I mean, what if we get nobody 18 older?
We get nobody at all.
Well, that's a thing too.
I think, well, there's a lot of artists in this town, and I don't think they would be opposed to
And then as far as
decorating.
a stipend or something, as far as that. I mean, so do we have the money, where would it come from?
It's only
I'm sure.
it's only $1,000.
1,500, some do 500, some do 1,000, it depends on the size of the box. I mean, I didn't go out and measure the box, so they said, I think it's Wellesley that they do, the smaller boxes are 500, the bigger boxes are 1,000. It's basically to cover time and materials. It's your time to get out there and paint it, it's your time to, and the materials that you need to do the work.
Yeah, I think I support 500, seeing it's a small box and such. But that's
First time
just,
doing it too,
yeah,
I
just
mean,
to test the waters and see what
Test the
happens,
waters.
and unless someone wants to donate their time and pick the winner.
Anything else? Anybody?
I
Mr. Haley, you good?
I think it's a good idea. I think if Pam puts a flyer together with all the regulations for the program, we get it out there, we promote it. I asked Pam when I saw this, I don't pay attention to things like this, to be honest with you, but since I read this, I noticed in South Attleboro, just outside one of the new plazas I saw. I drove to the town of Warren today. Almost everyone in the town of Warren decorated. My only thing was, and I mentioned it earlier to her, if whoever the winning artist is, if we could do like a wrap it in vinyl. So then like in a year or two, we hold the contest again and we pick a new artist and it changes. So there's a change. But if it's the best way to do it is paint, I'm all, as long as we get it started.
Yeah, from what I read, there are towns that do wraps. But from all the reading that I've done, I've read that the paint was the better way to go, but.
It's the better way.
Yeah, and the thing is, if we redo it again in 2 or 3 years,
We do
you prime it over and it goes forward. And I don't even know if that's the only box I see in town, but
Well, there's
Maybe
other
there's
boxes,
more.
I mean, I'm sure there's a box
Oh.
at every traffic light, right? But the
Yeah.
question is, what? does
They might be,
the home-
Yeah.
going on
Yeah.
44 and
Yeah.
stuff.
I just assumed
Yeah.
that being where that one was located,
yeah.
Yeah.
that it was gonna be, I assumed it was town owned, which is why I presented it. And
Okay, so-
Besides confirmed with Dave Cabral.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
If you- they
The
can't
only
paint
thing is
it,
that you wanna have a theme, I mean, do we wanna throw it out there as a theme or just any design?
Seekonk.
Seekonk related, I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
that'll be, I wouldn't pick a theme, I would just let the artist decide.
Okay.
It's gonna be a Seekonk resident, it's gonna be,
Yeah, it could be like,
You know.
like these, I mean, these, that's flowers, and one's got music, I mean.
they can
you know, it
start
could be pretty much
thinking it
anything.
up now, you give them,
Yeah, give them a couple, give them a couple.
Can be a
months
picture
and
of me.
months.
no.
You don't want graffiti on it after.
No, no, yeah,
I didn't put
no,
the regulations together.
just, uh,
Yeah, there you go.
You know, I figured we
Yeah.
we get it out there, we can advertise it, flyer, we get it to the library, get it posted in different places, and,
Yeah.
you know, maybe at the next meeting, we can approve it, and then we'll get it posted and give them like maybe the month of June to get there.
You have it ready by town meeting Monday.
Yeah, get it in, give them the month, maybe the month of June to get the designs in, and then pick something in July and give them August and September to paint it, or July, August, I don't know. we
Sounds
can
good.
figure it out.
I'm not an artist, so I don't know how long it would take
Yeah.
to think of a design and to go out there and see the
I
box.
hear so many
I'm
artists
just
that have
asking, I don't know. I'm not an artist.
You're not an artist, you're an artist, or just me? Oh, your son's an artist, okay.
I know artists, but I'm not one, so I don't, is a month long enough?
We'll try.
Well, right now, they got a heads up, anybody that's looking at this, they got a heads up that that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And we haven't started the countdown yet.
Yep.
So the artists in town that think it's a great idea, which they all should, will start thinking already. And they're like, they can look these up, and we don't want anything copied. We want an original design for Seekonk,
Original
and
design.
so
All right, so.
you got the go ahead.
All right, I will fly together, and then for the next meeting, then just put on the agenda to approve it and to move forward.
Great, we have that sheet.
Mhm.
Okay, discussion of increasing participation for board committees.
All right, yep, that was also, one of my ideas here to be on the agenda. It's great that we read the openings, board and committee openings every meeting, but, we fly through it. There's no real detail other than how many openings there are. I think it's great that we have these boards and committees. It's part of our town government. And it's great that we've been seeing, the talent banks coming in. I would love to see all of these filled. But I think we need to find a way to bring, more awareness to the residents as to what these committees and boards are and what they do. So some of my suggestions, I think, Science, you had mentioned it, in the past, you've had different committees come in, 1 or 2 members, just come in to one of our meetings, give a 5-10 minute presentation on what they do, like what's the committee, what kind of topics do they discuss, what are the areas they cover, and overall, I know some of the stuff you could just find online, but how many members are there, what days do they normally meet, like what's the time commitment? Some of these will have bigger commitments than others, and I think that's something people need to know. It's a lot of people say, oh, I don't have the time for that, I don't have time for that, but maybe there are some committees that would fit their schedule and would work for them, so maybe we could pick a committee or 2 to come in at our meetings and give a quick presentation. That's one idea. Another idea was something that they just similarly did at the library for all the people that were running for election, where they kind of did like the open house type thing, where you can have the committee, a member or 2 from each committee come in and just kind of like have a little station where they could, maybe at the library or wherever, people could come in and talk to the different committees and learn a little bit more about them.
How well did that go over? Do you know?
There was quite a few people there, wasn't it?
Only
the library?
library?
Yeah.
It was pretty good attendance.
Yeah. But I don't know what kind of attendance it would be for committees, but that's kind of the format I was thinking, where it would be very informal. You'd have the committees, like around the outside of the room, and people could come in and.
Almost like a job fair.
Yeah, like a job fair. Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking Monday at town meeting again,
Yeah, like a job
couple
fair.
people there.
Yeah, they could do that too. If there's
Well, I
any
think that's
committees-
kind of late to ask them to do that now.
Well,
Monday.
hopefully they're attending the town meeting in general, if they want to stay outside for a few minutes if they want to flyer.
we could do
I get
that if
it,
they want to.
but-
It's kind of last minute, but.
It is.
Right.
And then the other idea would be, maybe make a recording of them at one of their meetings, or not at their meetings, but if somebody doesn't want to come here and do a presentation, we could just have them make a video of what they do on their own, and then we can put those presentations as a link or on each of the different pages that are on the town website.
Yeah.
When you go to the committee, that webpage usually lists who the members are when they meet, but you could maybe have a little video there. Or a video clip. Those were the ideas that I had. I just think we should do something. Try and boost up awareness of what the
I
committees
think
are.
years
what they
ago, it was about 7 years ago, they used to have a committee member come in, a different one each night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back
The
when-
last time I was on the select board. we-
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
I
And if they
forget
did
why
that,
they
then we
went
could
away.
video that.
So we could do
I
that
think we
again.
went through all.
Yeah, we went through everyone, then we never recycled come back through, but I remember we tried it once.
We could do that, and then if it's video, we could even use like clip it of that section of our meeting as a video that goes up on the page. Maybe we can start there, and if we'll see how that goes, and we feel like we need to do like the job fair style, or we could do that.
Something may come up
Yeah,
by, now that we're talking about it, something comes
Right.
up and we say, oh, maybe we can do it.
Yeah.
Do it there, you know?
We can't have,
Yes.
speaking of town meeting, we can't have town clerk or someone read this prior to start a town meeting, right? Just so people as a advertisement,
We could have the moderator say it. Yeah, we could ask them to do it.
or we can drop the town meeting.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
the only thing I would like to add,
Yes.
is besides having them come in and discuss it, also discussing, do we need all these committees? Commission on Disability, 5 or 13 members, that's been there as long as I can remember. Economic Development Committee, 5 board of selectmen appointments. I think we'd be better served that if we move forward with hiring a consultant, a full-time consultant for economic development, to assist the assessment that's already been done on the Route 6 corridor, I believe was done last year.
So we started, it just hasn't finished because the grant expired, so we still gotta push it out.
Well,
Yeah, but I agree with you, yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
And I think if we hired a true professional consultant to look at the Route 6 corridor and work towards that, I think that would be a better avenue than trying to find people to be on the Economic Development Committee. Try to find 5 people, because to Pam's point, we read these over and over again, and you can have people come in, but if we don't have anybody that's representing the Economic Development Committee, how do we
yeah, you're not gonna.
how do we get that out there? And I think that's really truly an important aspect to what's going on in the community. You look at that corridor, that whole Route 6 corridor, I think we have to look at, and we have to focus on, what does the future of Seekonk look like with what's going on down there? It's changing. There's some empty spaces, and they've been empty for a while, and what can we do to bring in sustainable businesses that are gonna bring in that tax base that we're gonna need, and also bring in visitors to come to our community? So, just, those are other things I think we should discuss when we discuss the
Yeah.
council.
Yeah, so some of these, on some of these committees, mandatory.
So some of our, like the
Yeah.
Commission on Disability, we're required to have that, yeah. But the Economic Development Committee, that's really up to the board
Right.
on establishing that. So you could abolish that and then, have a consultant come in, and then essentially the board would be the Economic Development Committee.
The Board of Registrars, that's
That's required.
required. Capital Improvement Committee
That's in the charter, right,
It's in the charter,
right.
So if it's in the charter, we need to have.
but we haven't had it. We haven't had Capital Improvement Committee meeting.
That's
Because we don't have members.
They don't, because they don't have enough members, which is one of the things we need
I
to
know.
boost up, so they
I
have
know.
the quorum, they don't have a quorum.
Commission on Disability, we have to have Cultural Council, that's only one appointment, so that's not too bad.
I think we just got, it's kind of been.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Economic, that what we just talked about, the Development Committee, Energy Committee,
Yeah, that's another one that's not necessarily required.
But I like
for
it.
Board of
Finance
Selectmen
Committee.
appointments, it's only 5 members, and we only have 1 member, right?
We have one member, right, we appointed somebody a few meetings
Yeah.
back.
So that count might be
Christine or
lower.
I think that's a 7-member board. I think we've got,
There's only 3 then.
Energy
Yeah.
committee?
Then they don't
Think
even
so.
have a
I don't think it was
quorum.
4 or 5,
Anyway.
5
it's
maybe.
gotta be on.
5.
Well, Finance Committee, we need 1 more member. Historical Commission, 2 more members. Recycling Committee, only 1. Zoning Board of Appeals, 1 alternate.
We still need some, I mean, I feel like we've put several people on historical commission already, we really still need to.
I can go back and check, but I think so.
Okay, well, we'll stop there. We've talked about it enough.
And we
Hopefully,
should, when we can stop playing, we can,
Well-
ask them to come in, if we can get one or 2 meetings to come in and do a quick presentation.
but it's gone down a lot. It's gone
It
down a
has
lot
gone down
from
a lot.
originally,
It's
so
great.
that's great. But we talk
And it-
about it a lot, so that's good too.
And then we should have, even the ones that don't go, because people do leave, and
Yeah.
then the spot will open up and, people will need to fill it.
Okay, moving on, consider the appropriation of additional chapter 70 money for the school department budget. This was on
It was.
last week, and there was a discussion about possibly splitting the cost the amount between the town side and the school side. And, one of the members wanted a little bit more information on the school side, so
Mhm.
Mr. Kadim, you have that.
So I did have a conversation with the superintendent in terms of the needs. So my recommendation would still be that, we do appropriate the 135,000 to the schools. And I recognize we're talking about the sustainability of their budget and the reductions. But having a conversation with the superintendent, she has three new students coming into district that are going to require out of district placement that they have not budgeted for, which are going to be significant. So there's several options that if she did have, if we did appropriate $135,000 of additional funding to her, that she would make a recommendation to the school committee, who ultimately appropriates their line item budget, to either eliminate one of the layoffs that they potentially have, which would be a teacher, so obviously impacting direct student services, or she would do the prepaid tuition for the three new students coming into districts that was outside of the budget process, that will require out of district placement. So obviously a significant increase there for their costs. And then she also mentioned that a third recommendation would be, if the other two recommendations were not given consideration from the school committee, would be to put it towards the Hurley Middle School heating system. So apparently the head end pipe needs to be replaced. Not sure what exactly that is. She did say that the cost is more than $135,000 to replace that head end pipe, which needs to be replaced. So that's where we are. I know the board had asked about in terms of splitting the cost. So just to remind the committee that we had a $15,000 reduction in the general building services account. We reduced $10,000 from the town hall building and maintenance account. We did reduce $10,000 for the forestry expenses, which are for the cutting of trees that might be hazardous. And then obviously the bigger items are the staffing items for the fire department and DPW. So as I mentioned before, the goal was to add 4 additional firefighters for this fiscal year to bring up the groups to 11. And then we had also committed to DPW staffing. It was supposed to be 1 FTE for fiscal year 24, which we did not fill, and then 2 in FY 25. So the average salary for DPW this is just base salary, not any other additional fringe benefits, is $51,000. And then for firefighters, the average would be just under $60,000. So first class firefighter is $68,839. Second class firefighter would be $57,766, and then a third class firefighter $52,088. So that's what I got.
So your basic recommendation is?
Yeah, so my recommendation would be, since we have a balanced budget on our side right now, would be to turn that over to the schools, either in my mind, would obviously to help reduce at least an additional layoff for this fiscal year for student services. That would be my recommendation. Again, we can't tell the school department what to do with how they spend their money. So,
Well, that's
that would obviously, if we give them $135,000, they can spend it how they see fit. But the recommendations from the superintendent would be, 1, obviously reduce the layoff, 2, utilize it for the prepaid special education tuition, and then the Hurley Middle School.
Mr. Zara, do you have anything to say?
Just by going what Sean said, I just want to read. I mean, the forestry expense, $10,000. That's a lot if we have a problem with trees. The building maintenance, which I believe another select member said he wants to see it going towards maintenance, and here we cut maintenance. I believe the money that we gave him came out of the marijuana fund, right?
Not necessarily for the marijuana fund. I mean, it's a pool of revenue, right, to balance the budget. So we had to tie into the marijuana money.
Because that was established to go towards our infrastructure for roads and sidewalks and stuff. So we actually taken away money from that. And I remember Mr. Cabral saying he didn't know if he was going to have enough money to finish Arcade Ave. Mm-hmm. So essentially, we're cutting everything on the town side to give to the schools, and we're still going to be screwed. I mean, $135,000 isn't a lot, but I'd be okay with, if we could keep 35,000 and try to put it back to our building maintenance, and maybe the 4 fee or whatever for our side, so we're not cutting maintenance and issues on our side at the town hall. That truly is building maintenance projects, right?
It is. No, not projects.
Well-
It's in there for obviously general wear and
Like, you
tear
need
that
wood
needs
to
to.
replace
right.
something, stuff, materials.
Right.
I don't know what anyone else's thought is, but I,
So,
Mrs. Posey?
yeah, so I've been thinking about this. So, Mr. Haley made a comment at the last meeting, which I've been thinking about quite a bit. And he had said that when we had our quad board meeting, we had said 2.5%. The budget that they already have is 3.1%, right? I think that was the number last time. This brings them up to 3.5%. 3.1% is already over what we had originally said. And honestly, at this point, and I was in favor of splitting it, I'm in favor of just keeping the ball on the outside, the municipal side.
Mr. Healy?
Yeah, so since I brought it up, I was hoping that, and I know we cannot tell them where they're gonna spend. I was hoping that we could actually, we would have gotten a salary number for that part-time position, that teacher's position. And I'd be willing to, fund that and, maybe grab some money back for the maintenance lines on this side. The one thing I do not want to do is I do not want to start a debate back and forth between the Board of Selectmen and the school committee, fighting over money, especially at town meeting floor. So with that being said, if there was a way we could come to a happy medium, that would be great. But I don't know, because we can't dictate where they put that money once it's approved to them. I don't think taking all of it is the right message to send. Between the two boards, I think the boards have worked, the committees have worked together. The superintendent, I believe, did a very good job with her budget presentation. The best one I've seen come out of the school superintendent in a long time. The school committee, they're trying to manage what they have. Yes, they do actually have layoffs that are going to affect people. Where on our side, yes, we made commitments to hire staffing, but we're not laying anyone. We're not putting someone out of a job. I don't know if anybody saw the recent House Ways and Means budget that just got put out, where they're gonna possibly increase that per student amount. I don't know what that's gonna amount to. I don't think it's gonna be much.
Well, I think the House Ways and Means is what we've captured, so that's why we got 135,000. Yeah, going from
So,
35 to 104.
104. All right.
And
So
then Senate, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but Senate Ways and Means came out. They haven't updated the cherry sheet, but they've committed to the 104 as well.
Yeah.
So
So where we're at, where we're at. So, I did bring it up. I'm not in favor of, starting a war between the two committees, because I think some people here remember town meetings where there were motions made from town meeting floor that people just stole free cash to fund something when, the boards or the board and the committee were at odds. And I would hate to see that happen, because I think a lot of progress has been made to work together. So with that being said, I'll be in favor of your recommendation of, giving them the $135,000, because initially I did bring it up. I don't think we should continue. I hope the school committee takes it as a good olive branch from our side, or at least from me, to say, okay, let's do the right thing. Let's bring the teacher back for student services and, get the kids the education they need, and not do something, I don't want to say foolish with it, but I hope they do the right thing.
Actually, with listening to everybody and having a conversation with Mr. Kadim, most of this money comes from the increase to the students. So to me, it looks like student money, and I'm not basically student, but the school department money. And I'd be in favor of giving it this time to the school department. Like everybody says, we can't tell them what to do, but it seems like the superintendent has voiced her opinion on what should be done with that. And hopefully she has, a good influence over the school committee. And of course, you can't always, determine that. We also have ongoing meetings with the superintendent and myself and Mr. Kadim. So, I mean, what was mentioned before about the superintendent, I like her. I think she's doing a great job for Seekonk, and I think she'll take the money and put it where it needs to go. you know, and if we have those 3 students, you have to educate those 3 students. You have no choice, whatever it is they need, they have to get. So whether we can give them some money so they don't have to take it from the budget that they already say they would like more. I don't know about the teacher or the, whatever the piece of that furnace is, but, that's something else that needs close looking after, but, I would be in favor of giving it all to the school this time. Like you said, an olive branch, and, you know, there's members of the board that don't agree, or they agree halfway or whatever, and let's keep this in mind for the upcoming monies that may come in for the town.
So they have a warrant article on there for the Hurley, if you remember, for the Hurley thing, for $50,000, and it was still confusing because they need $1, how are they gonna get it out? But I'm real hesitant to give them all the money with $10,000 being reduced in maintenance. Are you sure that's not gonna come back and bite us? $10,000 is short money, but it could be big time with, if you're cutting out our maintenance budget, or what you did cut out of the maintenance
So
budget.
I will say I'm comfortable with the budget that we have. So obviously I can't anticipate any emergencies that may arise. But if we do have emergencies, we still have a reserve account of $100,000 set aside specifically for the unforeseen. That's built into the budget. So.
And the tree part too? 'Cause we went through a lot of money with trees.
The tree,
There's a couple-
I've had a conversation with Dave last couple of years. We've handled a lot of the trees that were of concern. So and again,
there was a list.
Yeah, and there's still a little bit of a list, but you know, and as the year goes through, depending on where we are with expenses, we can also move money within the line items to offset that if that needs to be.
Oh, I guess that.
Chris, would you be more in favor of the kept $10,000?
No, if he's comfortable with giving, I just want to make sure, because I don't want, we always get criticized, lack of maintenance. Now we're cutting our budget item, now we can't fix them because we have no money in maintenance.
That's what I'm
That's
asking
what,
you. That's what I'm asking you. Do you feel more comfortable keeping $10,000 of the money, and we only give them $125?
would that help out? I mean, I'd like that, but if he's saying we'll be all set, we have 100,000 in reserves.
Yeah,
that makes me feel a little bit better.
I don't know that it really moves the needle, but if it makes, listen, I'll do whatever the board tells me to do. This is why I brought it forward. I think the biggest impact right now for the $135 is going to the schools. I think it assists them more than it really assists us in terms of that. So we'll continue to manage any issues that come up. But if you want to,
No, then I'm fine, as long as we have money in reserves in case something happens, because I want to get, maintenance items to go.
Right.
Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion that we appropriate the additional $135,000 of chapter 71 to the school department budget.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Okay, 3 in favor. 1 opposed, passes unanimous.
and so just
Not unanimous.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
motion
Majority, that's the word I was looking for.
So amendment will still need to be made on town meeting floor for that.
Who makes that?
Somebody here.
Okay, summer schedule for the select board meetings. So everybody knows this, I brought this up last week, and we have a schedule, everybody has it. I'll just read it out for the summer up until September, just so people will know. Today's the 8th, we will have a meeting on May 22nd. In June, we'll have a meeting on June 5th and June 26th. July, we'll have a meeting on July 10th and July 24th. August, we'll have a meeting on August 7th and August 21st. Then we'll go into our 2-week rotation until November, and we'll face November just before we get there. So we have a meeting May 22nd, June 5th and 26th, July 10th and 24th, August 7th and 21st, September 4th and 18th. So people will know. If you turn on, and you don't see our pretty faces, there we go. Consider accepting open meeting minutes of April 10th, 2024.
Hey, one quick question.
Oh, I'm
Is there
sorry.
something, can this be posted up on our website?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Mr. Doyle, you have any issue with the open meeting minutes of April 10th?
Change your names on the back.
No, I did not. No, all the corrections were done that I have. Everything was good.
Oh, the only thing I'd like to say is at the very end, the adjournment. There was no time on there at the very end. It was 8:08 PM, just so. I think that's probably unnecessary. Yeah, right there. It doesn't say a time. 8:08, that would be the only thing I would add. I would be at.
Yeah.
Okay.
The adjournment, but that was,
Yeah, it said adjournment, but it didn't have a time. I don't know how crucial that is, but 8:08 PM. Like to make a motion?
motion to accept the minutes with the amendment of adjournment at 8:08 PM.
Second, Moyle.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nobody opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, other business, discussion on other topics not reasonably anticipated by the chair 48 hours before the meeting, and I have none, not too well. Okay, town administrators report and some comment.
Nothing on the Public Works Building Committee. We just had that update. So two other items, just one, a reminder of town meeting, which will be this Monday at 7 PM at the high school. Just urge all the residents who are registered voters to go out. One of the most important warrant articles is the budget for the fiscal year 25. So it's always good to have input from the voters and the residents of Seekonk on that. The second item, as the board is aware, we do have our local emergency planning committee for our emergency management plan. And part of that had been the subcommittees that were established. So one of the subcommittees was the shelter subcommittee. So next Wednesday, that committee will be holding a mock shelter training exercise at the senior center. So essentially almost like an active shooter training where they, it's not an active shooter training, but for those that are familiar with that it's just a mock, almost like a tabletop exercise where we use the senior center to establish the shelter. We have all the equipment in there to make sure that we know where it's going. And everybody is aware of what they need to do in respect to their responsibilities. So the school department will be participating in that, police, fire, DPW, animal control, Brittany from the senior center. So everybody on our side will be partaking in that. That's all I've got.
Good. Board of Selectmen liaison reports and comments, accounts payable warrant Stein, 540 Arcade Avenue. Oh, we're moving forward. We had an electrical inspection today. The building inspector is going to inspect the building by the end of the week. Monday, we have the final state inspection of the elevator. So, hoping to get an occupancy permit on Monday. TV9 liaison report.
Nothing.
Oh, he's not here. Not here. Bristol County Advisory Board.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Madeiras Town Committee report. He's also not here tonight. Seekonk Public Library Feasibility Study Building Assessment.
All right, I got a nice email here from the library group there. They did have a meeting on Friday, this past Friday, with the architect. He was at the library. He came down to review some things, take pictures, measurements, discuss the list of repairs. There are some major systems they've identified, like siding and building envelope, lighting, and ceilings. They also discussed some potentials of moving some things around to change the space layout and accommodate the staff better and potentially adding some team space. So that was the meeting that was held on Friday. They are still working with Weston and Sampson to get that work done, to be scheduled for the boring of the area where the foundation is. It's cracked. They still don't have that scheduled yet. But in the meantime, they said they will be working to put together the cost estimator, calculating what would be necessary to repair the building. They did say that, keeping in mind, just so we are aware, that Mass State Building Code says that if we repair more than 30% of the building's assessed value, then we have to bring the whole thing up to code. So that's just something to keep in mind moving forward. And they will be providing a two-tiered report with one being the things that are necessary to be repaired and two, the list of things that would be kind of more useful, nice to have.
Good, excellent. Okay, comments, Mr. Zora? Do you have anything? No? Mrs. Posey?
Actually, yeah, Chris kind of jogged my thoughts there earlier when he was talking about the fire station over there on County Street, you know, it's a building that we have, the town owns. Like, could we have maybe on an agenda item for future agenda to review buildings that the town does have and things that aren't actively being used and what we maybe plan to do with them?
Yeah, we have stuff in motion for that building.
Yeah, so, but other buildings, like, you know, where do we stand on the other buildings? So maybe we could just have an agenda item at a future meeting to discuss all of our buildings.
I will say that was one of the properties that were put at a town meeting. I forgot which one it
Yes.
was, a couple of
Couple
years ago. And then that we didn't get approval to move on
No.
that one. So we got approval on a couple other
Yeah.
properties.
So, yeah, if we could,
yep.
if we just maybe review on those, it's like the old fire station, I mean, the old police station that was up on,
That
you know,
was,
what is that one? Where do we stand with all these buildings?
COVID
Like,
happened.
whatever we did approve at town meetings and stuff, what is the status of all these buildings?
COVID happened.
Is that all you have?
That's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Healy?
Nothing.
Nothing. My
Nothing.
goodness. Okay, my turn. Hold on. Okay, I had the privilege of going to the graduation exercises of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Municipal Police Training Committee. It was up at Fitchburg State University. I went up with the police chief and we graduated. They graduated 3 officers, 3 recruits for our department. And when I find it, it was Officer Abasti, Officer Lonigan, and Officer Viveris. They had, I don't even know how many. I want to say 36. It was great. It was a great graduation. A lot of happy people there. I'm glad I went. It's probably the second graduation I've gone to because mine was the first and that was the second. Anyway, I'm very happy that I went. And I'm going to the Fire Academy's graduation this Friday. So I'll see what that's like. And I believe there's only one firefighter that's graduating on Friday. So we'll go check that out. I have a special request here from the library. The library has a community survey link. You may have seen some of these around town. They're posted on some walls. You can see it on the website. If you scan in this QR code here, it's a survey. It's 14 questions. It's very easy. They've done this before, so they're asking everybody please to take this survey and answer the questions. They like to know what the community wants to get from their library. And it's on until May 24th. So when you see these, you can scan it in your phone and get the survey. It doesn't even take 5 minutes. I was also asked to the Creative Purpose Boutique down on Fall River Avenue, 1464 Fall River Avenue, for the grand opening of their new building, which was very nice. Also, Representative Howard was there, and they had a ribbon cutting and everything. That's a beautiful place. There's all sorts of programs that they held. This is a list of programs just for May, and there's a lot of them, and it's online. And this is for adults and children. They have all sorts of stuff over there. You can go in and just buy the stuff that people have made, and it's beautiful stuff. Artistic people. Not all paintings. There's all sorts of crafts. There's chaining and clay and stuff like that. There's beautiful stuff there. If you need a gift, this is a place to go.
Do they paint electrical boxes?
Don't be surprised if somebody doesn't come from there. I'll tell you, they're very talented. And I don't think this place is restricted to Seekonk people. It's a store and like an artist studio. So yeah, it's classes and everything. Lego building, drawing class, bunny glass shells and resin jellyfish and all sorts of stuff. And there's prices you pay to go, and They show you how to do it. For those who are so inclined. I had mentioned before at one of our meetings, the Empty Bowls benefit concert at the high school. I went and I bought a bowl, and it has now become my favorite ice cream bowl, which is good and bad in both directions. But it was a success. I'm not sure how much money they made for the food pantry, but there were a lot of people there. There was a lot of desserts. Actually, Chris was there, and the police chief, fire chief was there. A lot of town employees were there. There were a lot of people there. There was a lot of music, a lot of different kind of music. Talk about talent. There was a lot of talent, but I was thrilled to go. It was fun. We had a lot of desserts, and now I have an ice cream bowl. There you go. And I use it. Not that you can't tell. Okay, this was a notice that we received from National Grid, and I'm sure everybody already knows about this, is to carry out late winter, spring mechanical control, which basically is they're out cutting and trimming trees. One blocked my way in today in Arcade Avenue. I'd also like to do a shout out to the front page of the Seekonk Reporter. If everybody saw the young ladies there, the Seekonk top 5 seniors were recognized. Unfortunately, in the Reporter, they did not have their names, but I do. One is, and this is in no particular order, I just went to the high school to find out who these young ladies were. One is Megan Capello, Mackenzie Carlston, Alyssa Clegg, Olivia Gashier, and Sarah Santoro. If you saw the top 5 Seekonk seniors, excellent job. Last night, I had the honor of going to Dr. Kevin Curley Middle School Band Spring Concert. And the reason I went is because I have a 6th grader in the concert. And I stayed for the whole thing by these things, because these kids are so talented. These students are unbelievably talented. I wish I had that much talent, just that much. We had the 6th grade band, the 7th grade band, the 8th grade band, the jazz band, some soloists that were magnificent. The instruments that they play, and their director, Marilyn Daniels, the band director, she's done a marvelous thing with these kids, and huge. I can't imagine the high school band when all these 8th graders move over to the high school. That is going to be incredible. They got a lot of talent there. And believe it or not, I'm done. Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn, not to enter into a.
We don't need executive session.
That's what I just said, not to enter into.
No, we don't need to go. Oh, I'm sorry. Because you said.
I talked too much,
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
let's
I'm
say,
sorry.
come on.
When you said not to
Enter.
reconvene, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So we're not having an executive?
Okay, I need a motion to adjourn, not to enter into executive session at, hold on, 8:18.
So moved, Michael Haley.
Second, Kazar.
Michael Haley, aye.
Posey, aye.
Kazar, aye.
Michelle Hines, aye. Good night, everyone.
Yeah.
Aye, aye, aye.